Overall, Kona is meant to be your sidekick for being a highly empathetic, high performance remote manager. I'm Sid, co-founder CEO of Kona. A bit about me: I'm based in New York City at the moment, but I split my time between San Francisco and New York. I have lived in four different countries. I was born in Dubai, then lived in Hong Kong, then lived in India, then lived in LA, where I went to school, studied computer science at UCLA, which is where I met both my co-founders. Yen and Andrew. I'm the founder of Kona. Our mission is to make empathy mainstream at work, and what we're building is the manager assistant for remote managers in Slack. There's a set of things that every great remote manager needs to do, and we want Kona to assist with that set of things. So implementing really high quality habits that every remote manager, every remote team needs to do in order to maintain a healthy, happy, high performance team culture and really drive long-term sustainable success for a team. The first hardest thing we started with was, as a remote manager, I don't know how my team is feeling, and I find it difficult to maintain a level of team connection, especially across time zones, especially in an async friendly way. And so the first aspect of Kona, which is overall just a set of high quality, healthy team habits that remote teams do. The first habit is really simple daily red, yellow, green emotional check-ins on how the team is doing. The way that it works is Kona is a dog. It's named after our friend's dog that'll check in on your team every day in Slack, asking you, hey, how's everyone feeling today? Red, yellow, green. So you put down a color, an emoji, and a comment. So if you can see here, this is the screen I can see in our own internal team Slack channel, where people are checking in. Andrew, my co-founder, checked in yellow and low energy. Yen was yellow and sleepy. One of our engineers, Alan, was red and frustrated because his car window got smashed into the previous night. And so we're able to get context from our team about what's going on, where their head is at, and what's going on in their life and how they're feeling about work overall. And I wouldn't have been able to know these things without Kona. So that's the first thing it does, is it creates a safe space to share how I'm really feeling today, what's going on in my life, and give my team any context about where my headspace is at. Where in an office, you would kind of be able to just look at somebody and tell from their body language and the way that they're carrying themselves, how they're feeling. In a remote environment, you have none of that. And so you have to be a little bit more explicit or intentional. Now, this creates some awesome conversations. People will respond to this in the chat, and it creates connection for us, because Alan, for example, shared a picture of it. I shared a picture of my morning walk in New York City. I love the place, so I always put pictures when I'm out walking. It's just a way for me to get a window into the lives of my team that I just simply wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. Now, what Kona will then do is it takes in all of these check-ins, and it kind of is my sidekick as the team lead of how are people feeling, who's struggling, who do I need to help. And so what it'll do, and let me just go to the Kona app here, it'll actually take me, for example, before a one-on-one with Alan, it'll tell me, hey, overall, here's how Alan has been doing. He's had a really mixed week, some good moments, some bad moments. He's had a sore neck. He's not been feeling great overall. And so I was able to bring this up with him and just check in with him. And managing a large remote team, this is super helpful to be able to go into a one-on-one with the context of how Alan is doing, instead of having to come in with the awkward, like, hey, how's everything going? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? Good. Let's get into work. I'm actually able to support Alan more effectively using Kona, because it gives me the context that I need in order to be able to have high quality conversations about supporting him. Now, people use this to bring up work-related things that they're worried about, blockers, and it's actually improved the quality of collaboration for a lot of the teams that we work with. Another thing that Kona will do is when I check in yellow or red, it'll actually just message me privately saying, hey, Sid, I saw you were feeling stressed and overwhelmed. So, sounds really tough. Sorry you're going through that. Here are some tips of what you can do. So if I mention I'm a little bit low on sleep, it'll give me tips of how I can navigate a day when I'm maybe low on sleep, or what I can do to support myself effectively. So that's the first big habit, is really simple daily check-ins for the team. It takes 30 seconds a day to check in on how I'm feeling, and then Kona will flag to me when someone is struggling. And there's also a data platform where I can see overall trends in how the team is doing. So If I go to the web, I can see for this product and engineering team at Kona that myself and my co-founder manage, I can see how every single person on the team is doing and who's at risk. So it tells me that Alan's actually been a little bit more stressed out than usual. He's had a couple of red and yellow check-ins this week, and I was able to actually bring this up in our one-on-one and have a really good conversation about his stress level and how I can best support him as a manager. Without Kona, I wouldn't have been able to know, and I probably wouldn't have noticed that he's more stressed, and maybe he wouldn't have noticed he was more stressed. So for me as a manager, Kona is my sidekick for knowing how my team is feeling and supporting them effectively as a leader. As a people team, I can get overall aggregated data on how the overall company is doing. So I can see that our health is a little bit down from the previous month. And so it looks like people are slightly more stressed, slightly more worried than usual. And I can dig deeper into exactly what emotions people are feeling. So it'll show me the top red and yellow emotions. Someone on the team had COVID, and a little bit of people feeling just generally low energy, but a couple people feeling a little frustrated and anxious. So I'm able to see what's going on and dig into why that's happening as a people team. And instead of having to rely on just my engagement surveys, which will give me super detailed analytics, maybe every 6 months, I'm able to get real-time data on how people are feeling and what issues are going on so I can take action in the moment when people are struggling instead of 6 months later. Another key part of the platform is, as I was saying, the mission is to support high quality, high performance remote management. And so one of the things that we've done, we've actually partnered with some of the top executive coaches in the world who coach the execs at Slack, Dropbox, Glassdoor, and we've built an AI-powered leadership coach in Slack. The way this works is Kona will check in with me and as a manager every week, and I can kick off a kind of coaching session whenever I want to. And it'll ask me, hey, what's going on? What issues are you running into with respect to leading your team today? And I can share someone is not performing, or I can say there's a conflict on the team, or I have a performance review coming up, really anything people problems related. It could even be cross-functional conflict or issues I'm running into, or even strategic help that I need or prioritization help. And I'm able to give it more context about what's going on. I took an example from this person that shared anonymously in our manager book club that I'm worried about their performance, and it's able to ask me a few questions to get to the root of the issue and then give me specific actionable feedback of how I can approach the conversation. So for new managers who might be an engineering manager or product manager or design manager for the first time and they're leading people for the first time, or even an experienced manager who just wants a sounding board to talk through their approach to these different people problems, Kona is able to create that expert sounding board that's 24/7 accessible and non-judgmental, that gives me a starting point to be able to approach all the people problems that I'm facing as a leader. Overall, Kona is meant to be your sidekick for being a highly empathetic, high performance remote manager.
So if I kind of summarize it, one of the aspects was building a habit around understanding how team members are feeling day to day. It creates that opportunity, that nudge for people to share whatever they'd like to. And then it gives the manager a really quick way when they're about to have their one-to-one to be able to see, okay, well, here's how that person's been feeling, so bear that in mind. And then I particularly love how everyone's got a coach with them in Slack. So if there's something that you want a different perspective on or you're not sure about, you can ask Kona, hey, what do I do about this? And the fact that you say, yeah, but specifically, what sort of things could I say? I know it's not removing all the judgment from the manager, but it's alongside to help. It's like, oh, here's some things you might not have thought about. And that can really help with bias potentially and more inclusive approaches.
Absolutely. Yeah. With our early customers, which include companies like Masterclass, Canva, Oyster, GoodRx, Mercury, some amazing, really fast growing remote companies, we've seen a ton of impact. For example, at Oyster, we were able to increase their employee retention rate by 8%, which is a massive saving for the business, and of course just means that people are happier when their managers have a better sense of their well-being through Kona, as well as managers individually telling us that it becomes really their partner, their sidekick for being a great leader for their team.
This has been so cool for a high-level overview. If people are interested and explore it more for their company, how do they get in contact?
Just go to heykona.com. That's heykona.com. And you can get started immediately, or you could book a demo to chat with our team, and we can get you set up.
Amazing. Thanks so much for showcasing it.